Puppey, congratulations on this win. I have to ask though, what clicked or what worked for you guys in this series that wasn't working previously?
Well, we started to realize that we're going to get relegated. Realize keyword.
Yep.
And then, we kind of started, I started kind of understanding that, like you said, I'm going to play Kuro and there needs to be like a hype match and stuff like that. So this, relegation match, I've not been part of it yet. So it's kind of interesting. Now I'm going to probably do some, we're going to sell tickets to an arena somewhere.
Oh, so you're doing it
And
for
it's
the
gonna be a
fans.
big yeah, Enigma. I'm doing it for the money. Come on.
It's for the
So we're gonna
viewers
have
out
an
there.
arena set up and everything. This was all planned, by the way. This is like not because we're losing or whatever. This
Scripted.
This is just Dota. It's corrupted. You guys should know better. You can't flame the players. They're all just part of a cog and stuff.
Speaking of, being part of the cogs and whatnot, how has been fitting Boom into the roster for you guys? What was the focus on transitioning him into that hole that Nisha left?
I mean, I think it will take time to transition perfectly.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, losing TI is different than winning TI.
Okay. I've never been in either
it's a bit
situation.
Yeah, but they're both pretty different.
Okay.
Third place is a little bit better than second place, I would say. Even.
Oh.
You have a little bit of hope, like, we can maybe do it next year. But when you get second place, it kind of maybe feels a little bit different. Doesn't matter. The point is, like, we did a good run, but I think we couldn't keep the momentum anymore going, and it kind of like struck us down a little bit. But whatever. Dota's Dota. You
Yeah.
gotta figure out new things.
Definitely.
Congrats on the win. I was curious how you guys have felt about your drafts overall this DPC tour, and like how much you think your problems are in execution versus drafting.
Well, obviously, we love our drafts because it got us so many wins. And so, to be honest, no problems there. Anyway, okay. So, but seriously, I mean, it's the meta changes pretty fast. Like some days it's Lena's good, some days Lena's not good anymore, and just like these nuances, they're very carefully needed to be kind of like figured out. I think we lacked that material very, very, very hard this season, and maybe we're now getting into the groove, but it may be a little bit too late. So it's practically all of our fault, and that's just life. And not gonna don't really have much really things to say because there's like Dota's all about like doing the right moves, and if you don't really know what heroes are good and what concepts are good and what concepts work against whatever, because stats don't really help you. Like you will check up stats and you're like, okay, what's good against Lena? It's Meepo. It's like, well, that's not good. That's not good statistic. Some guy cheesing the games, winning every time, 70%, selling accounts, stuff like that. Played a Nico baby today. Maybe he's doing that now again. I'm not sure. Who knows?
Yeah. I also remember you said in an interview around TI that like it's hard to ask for guidance when you're struggling as a team because you're sort of like in that top. Is that something you still feel holds true, or have you been able to like find help from other parties?
What do you mean? Like other teams, or
like you said, when you talk to people and ask them for like Dota stuff, it's just like never really like helpful enough because you guys are already sort of like at the top of Dota in tier 1. I was just wondering
when you're during the TI and when you're like
just as a
playing,
pro team
or like winning already a lot and you need more advice or something like that in that sense.
I'm not sure. It was just from one of your interviews. You said that like you can't ask for guidance when your team sucks because you're at the top. That's all I remember. I just wanted to ask if it was something you still felt was true.
Because I'm not really understanding exactly, like when we are sucking, you can't ask for guidance from better teams in that sense. Well, it's it's contradictory, kind of paradoxic in a way, because nobody will really tell you what's good, and unless you're really, really good friends with the person. But even then, it's kind of like hard, especially because like you got to be professional about this game too. It's not easy to just go and ask, so why are you guys winning? And then they will tell you all the stories. So it's really awkward to do things like that. And to be fair, if you do kind of open up your mouth a little bit and start like telling your some friend, what you're doing. It's kind of like your teammates might look at you weird, and then after that, might be kicked out.
Okay.
So, dangerous path.
Yeah.
So for your upcoming series against Nigma, you and Kuro have a lot of history. Obviously, you've played each other a million times. Do you prepare against Nigma in a specific way, like just historically in general, or is it just like any other team for you?
I mean, we sell the tickets first, and then we prepare the seats. We all carefully choose out the seats with Kuro. It's a kind of a thing we do. No, but why am I answering all the time as a joke? You know why? Because there's no real answer to these questions. Like you don't prepare for a team differently in a way where it's a different team in particular. You prepare against every team differently. That's just how it works. And if it's Nigma, if it's Tundra, if it's whatever, it's going to be always different. It's not going to be the same. Everybody has their own things that they want to abuse, and like every time any team plays against another team, the bans change. Always.
Okay,
It's not the same. It's not like they believe with meta.
I think maybe I can elaborate a little bit to make my question a bit better then. What have you seen from Nigma so far in both wins and losses? What do you think is like something stand out? They've had, from our perspective, some really good games and some games that were pretty weak. What do you think made it click in the games that really worked for them, in case you've been watching a lot?
It's very. I mean, I watched a lot of their games, but it's just like. It's their lineups have been funny because Omar is just playing off lane from a safe lane, like 95% of the times. So the game that I felt like that was most like the best for them was when they drafted a little bit of meta heroes plus Omar Sven, and that was like a lineup where they basically can beat probably any team with that one. And I think I should be also very careful of giving away a lineup where all three of their cores feel happy. But yeah, I mean, specifically though, they're in a mess just like we are. and
right.
I'll tell you one thing: there's much more things going wrong for them than right. So similarly to us. So I don't know, when you're asking, so what did they do good? It's like, well, have you watched the matches?
No, but that's the thing.
What's been going on?
They've had individual games that looked really good, right? They took a game off Tundra, they took a game off Gaimin, but they still lost the series. I was just wondering if you're like, oh wow, in this game they did something really cool. They just haven't been able to do it consistently. But yeah, maybe that's the problem. Maybe it's just consistency.
When Amar gets Huskar and it's a good game of Huskar, you better watch out. You're losing that game. It's one of those things. Like, and we have a little birdie named Crystallis who knows everything what Amar thinks, and the problem is that also Amar knows what everything Crystallis thinks. So it's kind of like a two-edged sword, But it works. But at the same time, those are the things to be careful about. I think when Amar gets a game where he feels like he's actually going to carry the game, he might as well just carry the game. But so far, it hasn't looked like he could be able to do that in those games because he's too pressured on his lane or something's wrong and so on.
All right.
Congrats on the win. The first win, once again, came a little bit late, but
thanks.
Better late than ever.
No, it's all that matters, though. Yeah. This win is all that matters.
Yeah, so you obviously had a really rough time so far. I'm wondering, like, how's the morale in the team, and is there something that you have to do with the players to kind of get that morale back up? Like, if you have a streak of losses, because that's not something that Secret is usually known for. You guys didn't have a streak of this many losses in a long time.
Yeah, this is pretty bad, but I wouldn't say it's like crazy bad. Because like the thing is, though, you don't know what's going on behind the closed doors.
Of course,
the machete doors. Point is, there's a lot of times where we just lose like 20 scrims in a row. That stuff happens constantly. That's already equal to like losing 10 DPC matches in a way, and morale-wise at least, and you kind of have to come out and think of what's really going on. You have to have a team talk. You have to kind of like get yourself out of the situation. We obviously are not in a good morale right now, losing 5 matches in a row. And some of them we really got stomped. So it happens. Like we basically have to do everything that a team goes through. We have to talk to each other. We have to, talk about all the inconvenient things that are probably ruining our game. and even if it's like very hard for people to swallow, it's just we just need to do it. You know, everybody needs to pitch in, and if it doesn't work out, just doesn't work out. But these are the things you need to do as a team. You just everybody needs to pitch in something that can maybe make our life a little bit better. And once one thing happens, it's like working out. You know, you do that one thing, the next one is going to be easier, the third one's going to be even easier. So like those are basically like if we start winning, you know, every win is going to give us more confidence, and we know we're on the right track, at least if it's, you know, happening this way. So hopefully that happens.
Are you able to give us a little bit more insight into, I guess, how you're trying to keep the morale high and what a week looks like for you guys or a day looks like in boot camp for Team Secret?
I mean, it depends very much on which part of the boot camp you're in. You know, at the beginning is different from the middle and the end. You know, and the beginning is where people are constantly just brainstorming about ideas, what they want to play, and that's usually the beginning. The second, well, I mean, it's different if you're winning. It's different when you're losing.
Yeah.
So right now we're losing. So let's maybe talk about that. And in my eyes, we're winning. Every loss is a win.
Always learning
know?
something.
You're always learning, you know, losing is learning. And thing is like, yeah, I mean, typically though, morale really does ruin sometimes the atmosphere of having a conversation about something, right? You can't really, if you're not feeling to talk about things because everything's wrong and you're not really sure if it's you or somebody else and whatever, you kind of get closed in. So I think it's most important to kind of like change the scenery in a way. Like screw it, let's not play. Let's do something else. Let's hang out. Let's like take a chill pill. Maybe we can gather our thoughts and change our minds about some things. And you know, because when you're constantly grinding and you're just running into the same issue, you're not going to get anywhere, in my opinion. So a usual process is still like brainstorming ideas, scrimming a lot, figuring out if things work or not. Brood mother first pick, brood mother sixth pick, seeing how many of those like things can in draft wise make it work for you or not, you know. And usually you just develop like a system which is just kind of bulletproof, and then you play those games and then you lose, and then you kind of like, okay, we fucked up, and then you start over and until it works practically, you know.
All right, well, I think that is all of our questions answered. Puppey, thank you so much for the interview, and congratulations again on keeping the Division 1 Team Secret dream alive.
Yeah, keeping it alive. All right.
For the
See you in the
fans.
arena, boys. Swindler and buy some tickets, okay?
All right.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
make
I'm
sure. Front row, front row. Thank you so much, Puppey.